Hello, my Teaserking family. Hope everybody's well. I just did my football class. Now it's time for economics. So I got to get the feel of what to do on the weekends because of football on. So I know everybody wants to watch the football. So we'll have to determine what we do on Fridays with economics. But I know my friend Pat in Singapore's he's probably not ready for it. He's got a 12-hour delay. So in Singapore now, it's 12 at night. It's Saturday night, midnight. So we will see. So basically, last year in football, I used to go through the games and give you my picks or my thoughts. This year, I'm having a class for $25 and I'll go through the picks there. You can't sell an item. Like I said, I can't be a restaurant and some people come in and and they pay for the steaks, but then other people, I go, well, here's the steak, just enjoy it. I can't do that. You got to charge everybody or nobody. And you can't make money in a restaurant if you don't charge the customers for the meat. So we will see. Anyway, so let's talk gold 2503 closed today. They close about 6 o'clock Friday, the COMEX, and then it opens Sunday night about 7. China comes on. So this will be interesting to see, with Monday being a holiday here, Labor Day, to see what happens. I'm expecting the market to go way up because of Labor Day, because the U.S. won't be available to do their derivatives, which the puts, they always want the price to go down because they don't want you in dollars, or they don't want you in gold, they want you in the dollars. They basically made off you, Ponzi scheme you, when you're in stocks or bonds or in the bank. That's where everybody gets fucked. You're in the bank, you're in money. And if you're in money, you're going to get screwed because they keep printing it and it's worthless. So if you hold $100,000 in the bank in dollars, you think I got $100,000. The problem is you don't realize that it's not worth anything. Look at Germany, right? The wheelbarrow full of money to buy milk and bread. Look at Zimbabwe and Venezuela. The wheelbarrow is full of money, but the money was worthless. We are this close from that happening here, and there's no stopping it. It's the snowball going down the hill. You're not stopping it. It's going to happen. It's soon. And the funny part is they want it to happen. The idiots running the country want it to happen because the people who are running the country don't like the U.S., so they want to bankrupt it. mostly George Soros and Chinese. There will not be CBDCs here. It's not possible because the central banks are not made to deal with the public, right? Central banks deal with the banks. They're not set up to, oh, Teaserking, here's your account, professor. And everybody fears control. Oh, they'll know when I go to the bathroom and where I go to eat. They know that now. They've got your phone. They've got your laptop. Basically, who cares? I mean, I can have my breakfast. I can go to the pool. I can go play golf. But I'm smart enough to not be in their system for money. I'm in gold. This is how you don't play their game. You realize what their game is. Bankrupting the currency to zero. You realize you need to be in gold and silver, which most people don't. And this is the problem. So my specialty is problem solving. So you have to realize there's a problem, which most people don't. Then you have to realize what the solution is, which is get into gold and silver. That's the way out of it. But most people don't realize there's a problem. As Luke's friend, who's got $4 million in an IRA, doesn't understand there's a problem. Well, I got 4 million. But what's 4 million worth? It's not like it's 4 million in 1965 money or even 1975 money. In 2024, your money's worthless. But how many people really understand that? So the way to play our own game is to protect ourselves in gold and silver, get you away from what they're trying to do, which is bankrupt the dollar, of which nobody really understands that. And that's really the key to it. You must understand the dollar is bankrupt and not worth anything. So anyway, that's the point of it. So the title, why do people gamble? Especially when they don't know the game. So initially the title is the BRICS gold-backed currency. What's that going to do with gold? BRICS is coming out the end of October. Russia, China, and the boys, mostly in that side of the Far East, the Middle East, Africa, South America. They all don't like America. They don't like how they bully them and they sanction them and everything else. So most of the people there can't wait to get out. There'll be a total of 159 countries joining BRICS. Not right now. Right now I think there'll be up to 20. I think 12 new ones. There'll be up to 22 in October. They all need gold to join the gold-backed currency. So they keep buying and buying. The demand for gold is up because the dollar is going out. Most people here don't understand inflation, thinking it's prices, not even understanding the risk that holding the dollar what is going to zero. They don't understand that. Most of these guys, they just think, oh, it's prices, and if the supply chain breaks, then yeah, there'll be inflation. It has nothing to do with it. It's printing the money. So there's huge gambling. What BRICS does is say, we're going on the gold back system. We're not going to gamble anymore. Why should we own US dollars? We don't want to own them. They're dumping the dollar, which makes more dollars come back, which makes higher inflation. There's just less demand for the dollar, but you've printed way too much of it. You can't print $150 trillion and not have demand for the dollar, and that's going to be massive inflation. So BRICS comes out with a gold-backed currency. The value of gold goes through the roof. Silver will follow, because as gold gets very expensive, people will jump into silver, because that's also money, and it'll also protect you. So that's coming October 22nd, and be prepared. So I think right now, after the holiday, you're going to see the gold really start moving. The U.S. really can't stop it. They do their little derivatives to try to keep the price down, but you can see we're at 25.03. I think we'll see 26 this week. Maybe Monday, we're going to see a big move up, with the U.S. not being able to do their put derivatives to lower the price. Understand, in COMEX, it is not free market economics. It's not free market pricing. It's just price based on derivatives. So if everybody here bought, 1,000 tons of gold, we all bought it, no, the price wouldn't move, because the price isn't set to move with it. The price is only set to move on COMEX, on people buying and selling derivatives on COMEX. That's how they're keeping the price. So there's no value. You're not seeing how much buying and selling is really done. You're only seeing derivatives that are bought and sold, options. Just like trading places with Eddie Murphy. They didn't have any orange juice when they made that, when they did the put derivative at 140, and then they bought it at 29. So you're selling first and then buying. So you're hoping the price goes down. Well, there was no orange juice there. It was just the derivative. So now the orange juice opened at 102, went up to 142, and went down to 29. That's what you had. That's how the price was developed. Not free market. There was nobody buying and selling orange juice at the grocery store or anything. But that's what you have with gold. So that's why it's blowing up, because there's too much demand. So as you're keeping the price down, so everybody stays in the stock market and the banks, all the other players are just buying it up, going, wow, it's so cheap. So it's like buying a Coke for 25 cents now. I mean, it's just, you're keeping the price down when the market says it's $3 and you're selling it for 25 cents. That's the difference between free market and a fixed, controlled, communist price fixing, which is what Harris wants to do. Price fix everything. Oh, everything's too expensive because we inflated the currency. I love her ad. She acts like she hasn't been in office for 4 years, and whatever happened wasn't her fault. And now she's going to come in and what? Change it? Well, you're in and you're fucking it up. So why would you change it? So this is the problem. They're all living in this fantasy world, these guys. She's one of these Nazis that George Soros put in charge. Who's running the country? It's George Soros. Don't be naive. He who has the money does it. Now, how much gold does he have? I don't know. I assume a lot. But that's the problem. So that's BRICS gold-backed currency will make the price of gold go way up, and silver will follow. So understand that. Understand the dollar's worthless. You don't understand that. I mean, 99% of the people I talk to have no clue. Oh, I got my money in my 401k or my pension. But you're missing the point. The money is worthless. They cannot wrap their hands around that their money is worthless. So you got $1 million. It's worthless. So yeah, people are making money now on the stock market, but it's worthless money. You make a lot of money in Monopoly, but that money's not real either. Bitcoin's not going to save you. That's not money. That's just a collectible. Sorry for eating, but I am hungry. So that's where we're at with it. So keep that in mind. You are gambling without knowing it, keeping your money in this or in this. Right? You keep your money in this. You are making a huge gamble that you don't know you're making. This is worthless. Oh, Howard, how can it be worthless? Because if it keeps getting printed, the more there is, the less it's worth. This is why Rolexes have a huge value. They make very few watches each year. If you were to go to a Rolex dealer and ask for a Rolex, it would take you 1 year. And there's not a lot of them that they make. They don't make 1,000 of the certain kind. They make different kinds of watches. They make, 20, 30 watches, different watches, but they probably don't make a lot of each watch. And if you go do an order, it takes a year. If somebody else comes in and orders your watch, it's going to take them a year to get it. So that's why the used watch market's much more valuable, is because they're, I'll sell you my watch now. I can get it right now. I don't want to wait a year. No, because most people are babies and they want something, they want it right now. So keep that in mind. Just did college football, so that should be fun today. And again, I'm teaching classes in college football. One gentleman wants to be mentored. So we'll do a Teams meeting where I can teach him. And that's what I'm trying to do here. If you want to learn and have a one-on-one class, or 4 or 5 of your friends, I'm happy to do it on Teams or here. Most people are in the blind about all this stuff. They don't get it. They don't know how to think about it critically. And that's what happens to them. So keep that in mind. Gambling. If you buy stocks, bonds, have your money in the bank, real estate trust, you're gambling. The difference is when I go to the casino and I play blackjack, I know I'm gambling. If I play poker, I know I'm gambling. You always want to know, how do I win at it? How do I win playing blackjack? So I got to get to 21, but if I go over before he goes over, I lose. When do I hit? When don't I hit? Based on the information that the dealer gives you. He shows you one of his cards. So you go, okay, he shows me a 5. I got to figure him for 15 because there's 10, Jack, Queen, and King. There's 4 10. So I assume the odds are he's got one of those cards and that he'll go over. Now, of course, that's just the odds. That's not reality. It happens most of the time, but there's times he turns over a 6. So we will see. But when you don't know what the government's doing to you, and you don't know the paper is printed and worthless and you're gambling with it, that's a shame. That's a Madoff. You don't understand the game. That's what I'm trying to teach you. You can't just keep printing dollars. If they're not backed by anything, they will go to zero, as has always happened. And it's coming very soon here. I don't know if there'll be an election or not. I don't know. I would imagine so. I don't know why not, but um, the BRICS are coming out in October with the gold backed currency is going to fuck up our economy. That's for sure. Now, we're already at war with Russia and the whole Middle East, so it's not like we're going to war. We're already at war. So this will be interesting what's coming up. But October, you got a very short window before the gold goes up. And that's not a gamble. That's going to go up. That's for sure. When you're in stocks and bonds and the bank, you're taking a big risk. They're manipulating it, right? So they're printing money and putting it into Apple. I saw this thing on Apple yesterday where they're having problems in China. Their stock's going to tank. Let's see if I can find that. Oh, Alligator's got a new one. I don't know if I can stomach watching his.
Carefully developed over 3 decades by a University of Tokyo professor to be worn even by children.
So this is a brand new alligator. Thing's about to unleash hell on earth. So be careful. There you go. You're gambling. It's an hour long. I'll watch it later. I don't know. I got football. It's probably the same rhetoric he always has. Oh, this is as good as Gold Australia. And the two bald guys that put toupees on. Yeah, I really want to listen to them. We'll have to watch it later. But I'm looking for the China one. Here's Timo, which is Chinese, in big trouble. 55 billion gone. It falls 55%. China's economy is about to collapse. The only way out is gold. Korea's in trouble. The end of Korean miracle. All these countries are going out. I showed you Germany. I showed you France. I showed you the UK, Italy. All these countries are in big doo-doo. BRICS just ditched U.S. imports, collapsing the U.S. economy. I don't know about that, but we're just having less customers. There was one on China. Anyway, so I can't go to Alistair. I wouldn't know where to take us since I haven't watched it. I am trying canola oil on my feet for it does wonders for bone spurs. Although my foot's still hurting, but it takes a good week or two. Then I guess you're supposed to wrap it in a towel on your feet for like an hour. I just kind of rub it on my feet and leave it. I don't know. I don't know if I need it. Why do I need a towel on it as much as I need the oil to seep in? So if China's economy is about to collapse, they certainly need a go back system. And BRICS just dumped US. So BRICS is really powerful. Plus, they all hate the US. So do you know you're gambling? No. You are. If they don't want the dollar, like I always show, if I try to sell this and nobody wants my Canadian Club 12 year, it's worthless. It's only worth something if somebody will pay you for it. Nobody wants this. They're all dumping this. They're all getting out of the treasuries to get gold. Everybody's buying gold because they know this is collapsing. It has no value if there's no demand for it, which there won't be. There might be in the US, but anything you buy outside of the US, so if you buy stuff from China, it's going to be very expensive. Oil is going to be very expensive because it'll be priced in gold. I mean, I just went and filled up for $3.30 a gallon. Unless we open up our things and sell our oil to ourselves in US dollars, it's going to be, I don't even know what it's going to be. It's going to be priced in gold. How to win sports betting. Now, this is the key to life. This is what we've done with the dollar, right? We figured out why the dollar is collapsing. They printed too much. So when you're doing sports betting, how do I, it's okay, I'm going to make money sports betting. Okay, how are you going to do it? Do you know what to look for? Do you know why you're going to make money? I mean, you got to understand the work I put in to predict. I've been doing it since the 70s, and I know what to look for. So we will see how do you develop what to look for? So if you're betting football, you look at the keys. You basically look at a game. Let's take TCU yesterday. That was my play. And I dropped them from 7.5 to 1.5. The question is why did I choose TCU? Why didn't I choose somebody else? And the answer is simple enough. Because I thought that Stanford was a bad team, which they were. They scored a little bit more than I thought, but there was a turnover involved. I felt TCU is going to be stronger this year because they got to the title game 2 years ago. Last year they played badly. I like their coach. He's an explosive offensive mind, so I know they're going to score. I don't like Stanford's offense or their defense. I figured they're going to score a lot, and then we'll see what happens. And that's basically what you're looking for is why do I invest in a stock? Why do I put my money in a bank? Why do I do a real estate trust? Why do I bet a football game? The concept of I want to make money makes sense. right? So I get a paycheck. Yeah, it's okay. I don't get a raise. I want more money. I want a better life, which is great. And then you need to determine how do you gamble your money away. You can put it in a bank and get 3%. That's not enough. You can put it in stocks, and I'll put it in Apple or Amazon, and maybe you'll make some money there. But you have to understand when to buy and when to sell, which you don't. I could put my money in real estate trust, which is supposed to be no risk, and I get a higher percent than at a bank. But because they're giving out house loans to people that shouldn't be getting them with bad credit, that's very risky. You didn't know that. If you understand that, you wouldn't have done it in 2008. If you understand, well, I'll give the money to Madoff, I can get a higher return. How's Madoff going to give you a higher return? Well, I don't know, but I'm going to get 15%. Okay. But at least figure out what he does. Like me, all right, I pick football games. I've got my history out there. You can see I'm actually picking the game, betting the game. Here's the game. You can see that. So it's not like, well, I can't show you the picks I make, or I can't show you my history. Anybody could say, oh yeah, I won on TCU yesterday. But if they don't show it, did you really bet it? But because I show my history, you can see I actually bet it. My history will roll over, I think, on Tuesday, and you'll see all my plays that I made today and yesterday. And that'll be the point. So then the question is, well, how do I pick the winners? How did I win? Why did I lose? I mean, there'll be games I lose. I'm not Bernie Madoff. I won't go 100%, I promise. I do pick a very good 70-ish percent. Sometimes I get really hot. Sometimes I get fooled. If I lose a game, it's because I get fooled, not because, like in baseball, I bet I took Pittsburgh with Skynes pitching the other day, and they played the Cubs. So I took, okay, Pittsburgh's going to win this game. And the score was 14-10, the Cubs. And you're like, okay, but the rationale for the pick was betting on Skynes. So I had the reason for the bet. And that made sense. Okay, yeah, sure, that makes sense. I bet on Montana. I bet on Lawrence Taylor. I bet on Jimmy Johnson. I bet on Brady. So those all make sense. Now, they don't win all the time, but there's a lot of times they do win. And that's the key, is to understand the reason you're making the bet. That's the point. So to win at sport baseball, you're basically trying to bet the pitcher more than the offense. In football, it's the quarterback and the defense is what you're really trying to bet on. Do they have a good defense? Like I said yesterday, Stanford had a bad defense, and TCU scored 27 points or 34. They scored 34 points. Hey, Greg John, you need to win today. Good luck to you. Hey, Pat, I was expecting to see you. Well, you got to buy the picks, Greg John. I can give you a winner, but you got to buy the picks. As I said, no freebies. With gold, there is no risk. You're right, Pat. And why is there no risk? So this is the key to understand. Okay, I'm risking in the dollar, which I don't even know I'm risking. But how do why am I risking? Because they're printing the money to zero, which I don't even know that how that works. I mean, I do, but most people don't understand. They think inflation's prices. They don't even understand what inflation is, or the problems with it, right? You're broke. Your money's worthless. You're working, making your money and trying to make money in the stock market with it, or real estate, or in the bank. You're trying to be safe in the bank. You don't even realize the real danger is the money itself is worthless. It must be backed by gold or it's worthless. TK, is jewelry worth it? No, I told you, you want to buy the coins, gold and silver coins. The jewelry, you overpay, and if you want to sell it, it's like this is 18 karat. So I'm not gonna get, this is 1 ounce gold. I'm not gonna get 1 ounce gold for it. I'm gonna get 3/4 of the price of the spot price. So the spot price is 2,800. I'll get 2,100. That's the problem with jewelry. You don't get 100%, but you pay 100%. I paid over spot for this. This cost me $550 when gold was 250. So I had to pay for the design and the artist and all that bullshit. Well, I don't care about that. But when I go to sell it, am I getting rewarded because of the design and the art? No, at least I'm not aware of it. All of a sudden, that they just pay me for the gold. Well, wait a minute, how about the designer and all that shit? That's the problem with jewelry. You get a little for your girlfriend or your wife, so she's happy because she doesn't understand. You don't want to explain it to her, but for an investment, buy the gold and the silver. You'll pay for 1 ounce of gold, and when you want to go sell it, you'll sell it for 1 ounce of gold, and that's the difference. So, no, jewelry, well, it depends what the purpose of the jewelry is. This was for my graduation, so it was worth it to me because it's very sentimental, because this means I graduated with a master's and it's a good accomplishment. So yeah, I was happy. But so betting football, you need to understand, why are you making the bet? And then you do an analysis, win, lose, or draw. Why did I win or why did I lose? Forget the draws. So, I had TCU. They scored a lot of points. The defense was okay. Stanford's not a great offense, didn't have a great defense. I won 34-27 because I have a superior team and a superior offense. And the point spread was only 7.5 that I dropped to 1.5. So the point spread did come down to 1.5 for me. Interesting how the real point spread went up to 9. It was like 9 and 8, and they won. They were up 10, and they kicked a field goal to win by 7. So a team that should have won by 30 won by 7, and all the people that bet on Stanford won. But because I do teasers, I don't get caught in the fix. Clearly a fixed game, but that's okay. I still won because I tease and I only lay 1.5, not 7.5. That's why I tease. It helps me win, and it keeps me away from the fixes. So you're looking at different variables of why you do different things. Now we're all in finance, so you need to understand the more you print, the less the dollar's worth. So the goal is to get out of the dollar before it goes to zero. And as Pat said, gold and silver are the answers. They solve the problem. But if you're kind of don't know what you're doing, you don't know to go into gold and silver. They keep the price down. Why do they keep the price down? Well, because they don't want you in gold, because there's no commission for the salesman. It's your own. So it's like buying Canadian Club whiskey and hoping the price goes up. Well, it's mine. You can't fuck with me. But in stocks or in the bank, they can fuck with you. There's new laws on the books that if your stock, your broker does not need to pay you. The banks can hold your money. These are called bail-ins, where they say, hey, we're losing money. So what's going to happen is people aren't going to be able to pay back their houses or their cars, so that they're going to default. And when they default, the banks default. That's what's happening in China now with the housing market. Since it's collapsed, all the banks are collapsing, and the whole economy is collapsing because nobody's working. All these people were doing, it was growing. You're building all these houses and apartments. So all the builders are working, and the painters are working, all the electrical people and the plumbers. And then I can open up a store and sell potatoes, and then everybody buys because they have money that they're working to make it, and people are giving them money to build the apartments. But they got Madoff. They didn't really build the apartments, and then they didn't take ownership. And so when Evergrande collapsed, they didn't pay the banks back. Oops, I'm collapsing. I can't afford it. They don't pay the banks. The banks are in trouble. They start keeping your money. Say, yeah, you can only get a few thousand out of. I got $1 million in there. Well, you can only get 5,000 out because we don't have the money because Evergrande was supposed to pay us, didn't pay us. And then all the people get laid off because now they're not building anymore. And so they get laid off, and then they don't go to the stores because they don't have money to shop. So the stores go out. So it's but it's all risk. That's the paper world, right? That's what we got. In our world, you get paid, you take your money and put it into gold and silver. You don't care if the Evergrande pays the banks. You don't care getting your money out of the bank because you don't have any money in the bank. You don't care about all that. All you care about is the precious, my gold. You get a safe, you put it in a nice place, and nobody can fuck with your gold. In China, nobody could fuck with your gold. You would go and sell it somewhere and get the money that you needed, and you wouldn't get fucked by the bank. And you make a lot more money, and you don't need a dividend because the gold will go from 2,000 to 2,500. I was looking at my documents last night, and I was looking in 2022. I'm buying gold at 1,800 an ounce. Now it's 2,500. So if I bought it at 18, it was selling for 17 because of the premium. So now it's 25. So I've made, it's gone up $800 in a couple of years, in 2 years. Now it's going to go up to 2,200 in a few weeks. So there goes your gamble. Now, if we want to bet sports because we want to buy gold, which is a good idea, you have to know what to look for, and then how to manage your money, and how to bet. How to win is an art. You can't just win. You go to the casino and you play blackjack and you get up $200. You're playing $5, $10 blackjack, and you bring $500 and you start playing these hands and you get up $200. What do you do? At what point do you leave? You don't know. I'm hot. I'm going to keep playing. Okay. Now I'm not hot. Now I'm down. I'm only up 100. I'm only up 75. You don't know when to leave because you're there to make money, and you certainly don't know what to. You might know how to play, but you don't know how to win. So what I do is I start with I play $5 blackjack because I want to play a lot of hands, and I want to get a streak. And if I get up $500, I put 400 in my pocket. You can do this in blackjack or craps. You can put it away. And so the worst I did, I started with, let's say 200, and now up 200. I'm up 500, but I'll put 400. So I put the 200 profit in my pocket. The worst I'm going to do is go home plus 200, but I'm going to keep playing because I'm hot. So I play the other 100, and I either get another 300 or 400 out of it, or I lose it. So I lose the other 100. And as soon as I get down to zero, the 200's in my pocket, that's what I won. That's how you win. Now, it might not be exciting until you're home going, well, I won. Had you kept playing, you would have probably gone to zero and lost your start. So you'd have lost the whole 400. And how good would you have felt? And what's the purpose of going to the casino? Is to win. When I go play poker, people I'll hear go, I quit a winner, and they don't get it. I'll win $25. I don't get how you can play like that. And I go, because I won $25. I played. I tried to win 1,000. It didn't happen because it's poker. It's Hold'em, which is a bullshit game anyway. All luck. So that's what happened. And therefore, I tried, but I did, but psychologically, I want to quit a winner. Then I can go back the next time going, well, I won. I did win. Now let's try it again. And then I start winning a couple hundred. And you're going to lose. And that's so you try to get, that's why when you get the chance to win, you do it. But as on you winning, I'm playing 1-2, 300, or 5-10. Yeah, 1-2 for 300. The odds of me winning 1,000 are so slim. I've done it like twice, and it just, you had to win all these hands, and you had to really get lucky to do it. You really had to win some big hands to win that much, and win a lot of hands. And it's just very few and far between. No matter how good you are, it's still very difficult. So you're betting sports. You've got to know why. Why did I bet TCU over Stanford? But before that, so we were talking in class, Michigan and Fresno State. I said, well, I think Fresno State has a good chance to beat them. But I'm not betting the game because Michigan's still a good team. I don't know anything about their coach or quarterback or their offense or their defense. They got a new coach, a new coordinator, a new quarterback. I mean, there's so many unknowns. So I want to watch before I start betting against them. I do like the quarterback on Fresno State, but I don't like it enough to bet on them. So I'm not taking. Now, I think Fresno State in 27 will win, but there's too much risk. There's too much unknown with Michigan. I'm gonna let it go. I don't like their coach. I don't know who their coach. So I don't know anything about them. How can I bet on them or against them? So that's where I'm at with that. So I didn't bet the game, but in my opinion, Fresno State would win. But you've got to be very careful about that because there's too much risk, right? There's too much unknown, which puts risk into the equation. So betting football, you want to bet on teams like TCU, where I know we're a good team. I knew the quarterback, the coach is there. So I know everything about them pretty much, and I knew Stanford well enough. So there wasn't as much risk. There was no way TCU was losing that game. So I took the risk. So therefore, I had less risk because I had enough variables that I knew. So I knew why I want to bet TCU. And then the point spread being 7.5, I could go 1.5 under a field goal. There was no way they were losing. And even if it was close, they're going to win by a field goal. So that's how I do it. When there's a lot of risk and uncertainty, I don't play the game. When I have my lock, I have very much information, very many variables. Yeah, I know, like Mahomes last year in the championship games, right? I locked the games. I had the KC was at Baltimore. Baltimore is laying 2. And Detroit, San Francisco over under was like 48. And I knew Mahomes in 8 was a lock. I knew that there's no way if they are losing, it's by a field goal, but they're not going to lose by 8. That was there, and they win the game straight up. The other game, the over, I played with Detroit Frisco because I watched Green Bay put up 30 points on Frisco. I said something's wrong with their defense. Then I see Detroit score a lot, but their defense sucks. So I had 2 kind of bad defenses with 2 kind of good offenses, and that's the defenses weren't that strong, and so I had over went. But that's how it was a lock. Seeing the defenses and the offenses in the Detroit and San Francisco game, I was very comfortable they were going, and they played a 65, and the over under I think it was 54, and in Teaser World were 48. So that's what we knew. We knew the variables. We knew there's no way Mahomes is losing, and we're getting points, which made it a lot easier. So the spread helps us also determine who we're going to bet on and why. You always need to know, why am I betting the game? Then you watch the game and it goes according to what you thought. KC's winning the whole game, and I got 8 points, and it was a piece of cake. Detroit, I think at half was 24-7, was 31. I only needed 40 something, and immediately it went 24 all. And I think at that time in the third quarter, I had the over at 48, or I was right. Well, there had to be a winner, right? 24-24 in the championship game. At worst case, you're going to overtime, and somebody has to win. So I knew I won because I knew that meant it's at least a 51, and that's a winner. But it's knowing the variables, knowing you have enough information. That's why week one is you got to be careful. You don't have enough information. All these new coaches and all these new quarterbacks in the pros, college, all these transfers. You don't have enough information yet to really. Oklahoma yesterday, new quarterback. What are we going to do with him? Is he any good? I don't know. Against Temple, I don't know. We'll see today with Michigan. I know what Fresno State is with Mikey King. Good quarterback, but we'll see if he can handle the defense and how their defense reacts to Michigan's offense. We don't know enough. You bet on gold because it's the undefeated world champion and there is no competition. TK, if I make money, I will buy silver. Okay. Well, you bet on gold because it can't be printed. So why, as I've talked about the dollar, they can print that and make it worthless. And they will print that and make it worthless. That you can guarantee. Everywhere in the world, Sweden, Switzerland, the euro. I hear people say, well, you can invest in the euro. Well, that's going to be worthless. What are you talking about? So as soon as you hear some guy say, well, you can put your money in the euro instead of the dollar, you turn it off and you give them a nasty comment like, you're a freaking idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. And I think that's what I don't like is they're putting out false information, right? And this is the problem. No, you would not put your money in the euro because that's going to be printed to zero. Just like the British pound and the Swiss franc and the euro and the US dollar and the Canadian dollar, they're all worthless. So you have to understand they're all worthless. As Pat's pointing out, the reason you go to gold is they can't print it to zero. The reason it's always money is it can't be printed. There's a limited supply and there's always high demand for it. So if you have limited supply and you have high demand since the Roman times, if that's what it is, then there's no risk. The risk in the dollar not only is you don't know what's happening, the risk in the dollar is because they can keep printing it and it goes to zero. And that's the risk that you don't know is the printing turns it to zero. What do they say? Oh, it's inflation, its price is going up. It's got nothing to do with the dollar. And yet, in fact, it's the dollar going to zero, which is the inflation. But they don't tell you that. You don't have a clue that you're getting Madoff. Just like Madoff. Oh, if you ask me, how do I invest? I don't want your money. And I said, fine. If you can't tell me how you pick stocks, guess what? I don't want. If you can't tell me, I don't want to be in your fund. And why would you not tell me? People ask me, how do I pick football? I tell them, this is what I do. Or in economics, this is what we do. This is why we buy gold, because you can't print it. It can't be inflated. It can't be printed to nothing. That's why we buy gold. The demand's huge with brics. Brics coming out with gold-backed currency. Everything is, that gold's going to go to the moon, right? So that's really what you're looking for. With the gold, right? That's why you get into gold. That's why you get into Rolex. Similar thing, although you're going to make money in a Rolex too, but it's not money. It's like holding a Picasso. You can buy a Picasso, you're going to make a fortune, but it's not money. You have to sell it to get the money. Where gold is the money and silver is the money. And that's really what you're doing. So you understand, if I buy gold, I'm gonna make a fortune and I can't lose because they can't print it. Now, will the government come out with, oh, if you sell it, we're going to tax you to death on it? I don't know. I'll go to a different country, but I don't think so. I don't think they think anybody in America has gold. It's more of a German and European and China and Russia thing. So they do their best to keep you away from buying it. Oh, it doesn't give a dividend. Why would you want something? Does a Picasso give a dividend? Does my Mantle card give a dividend? Does the Rolex give a dividend? So what the fuck do I care? I don't need a dividend. I mean, the excuses people use are so fucking stupid. I wonder how much this is worth. My Picasso. I was there in Barcelona, so I got this. I don't use it much because I'm more talking than I am reading, but that's where I'm at. So. Yeah, having a dividend's bullshit. Will it keep its value? Picasso, Van Gogh are very limited. Rolexes are extremely limited, and a high graded Mickey Mantle card is extremely limited because in the 60s, who has a mint condition Mantle now from the 60s? I think I have a 68 that's pretty good that I found at a card show, but most people aren't smart enough to even go and say, hey, I should go buy 65 Mickey Mantle cards or 1965. And then it's crucial to know when to get in and out, right? When am I getting out? In gold, we're not getting out because it hasn't really even started going up yet. Like I said, in blackjack and poker, you can't take your money off the table, but you can. Okay, I start with 300. And I always keep like a stack of when I'm up. And so I'll sit there with, I got $75. I'll play carefully a few hands. Then it's hard to play. So then I walk away going, okay, I've shut it down. Let's just take our profit and go. Because it's hard to play if you need to make a big bet. You get a pair of aces on the flop or on the deal. You can't bet $10. I mean, so the strategy of the game is when I have a good hand, I bet a lot, and that's to protect my aces from. Because if you have aces and all 5 cards are out, you're not winning. You maybe win 1 in 10. Somebody's going to hit 2 pair or set or straight or flush. Because with the 5 cards out there, you're going to have that. Pat, you have to hear the discussion with Ed Steer and Liberty and Finance yesterday. Very informative. I don't know who Ed Steer is, and I hate Liberty and Finance, but maybe, like I said, there's a new Mark McGuire out there, or a new alligator out there. This one, bank's about to unleash hell on earth. So I'm curious to watch that, but I haven't. It just came out this morning. But I do get busy with football this morning, so I'll watch that. We already know that banks are going to, steal everybody's money because they're going to lose their ass because they are broke because all these corporate real estate, the commercial real estate, they're all broke. They can't pay them back. People are getting laid off. Their mortgages and their car payments are defaulting. So as I said, the bank makes money by taking Pat's $100,000 and I loan it out to somebody who's got a commercial business who needs the money to start his business. And then he's gonna pay me back 7%. So I'm gonna give Pat 3% on his $100,000. I'm gonna get 7% using his money on IBM, and I keep the 4%, give him 3. Everybody's happy until IBM doesn't pay their 7%, and now we're all fucked because I'm not getting it in. I ain't giving it to you to Pat. So that's the problem. Esther is saying that the fiat paper game is pretty much over. Well, we know that. I've been saying that for a long time. Yeah, it's all going to zero. We don't need Ed Steer to say it. I mean, this is what I say every day. In other words, this is worthless. This is zero. That's why it's like that. So I don't need Ed Steer to tell me what I already know. Mark McGuire tells me brics and everything. Okay, I don't know how to get brics is coming out unless I listen to him. And then Egon I listen to, but he's the same thing. You're protecting your money when the money goes to zero. So I don't know, but I don't like Liberty and Finance. I'll have a hard time watching that for more than 2 minutes. But you're out as gold and silver. You're out or anything that is an asset that is limited, that there's high demand for, is what you want to be in. So it's Picasso and Van Gogh and Rembrandt. It's the Mantle cards, the Rolexes, and of course gold and silver. But your money, this is where you're taking the biggest risk, is in this. This is going to zero, as the professor says. I don't need Ed Steer to tell me this. And this is the point. So this is worthless because they're printing it to zero. And they're doing it on purpose. I don't know what their plan is. I mean, even if they do CBDCs, we're not going to join. We're in gold. We're in the gold and silver club. So we'll just go somewhere to cash in our gold and silver, which is what you would do with the Picasso or with the Mantle card or the Rolex. I mean, there's, your Rolex is worth 100 grand. It's still worth 100. Well, it'll be 100 grand in fiat money will get changed into 100 grand in gold or whatever the new currency is. What are they going to just not have a currency? And you'll have to join CBDCs. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense because the central bank is not equipped to handle 380 million people now with all the refugees coming through the border. What a nightmare that is. So then the question is how to win betting sports. You determine your thing. Okay, what am I looking at? How do I choose the game? Which is what you do, and then you're trying to figure out, okay, can I figure out who's going to win this game? Yes. Okay. Maybe no, but if there's a yes, and then you win it. Okay, but how do you win? You've won the money. How do you keep the money? What's the strategy now? Okay, so you've made $500. So now what do you do? Well, you got more bets out. Okay. Now, if they're all out like now, mine are all out at the same time, except for I got one game tomorrow. What do I do? Well, I make sure I quit a winner. So if I'm up $1,000, I'm going to bet 200 tomorrow because I don't want to give away the money I'm up. And then I take that, add it to my bankroll, and the goal is to add to your bankroll every week. You can do that, you're going to be a winner. So that's really what you're trying to do. If you're in stocks, you have to do stop losses. So if I'm in Amazon at $100 and it goes to 120, I need to put a stopgap at 115. If it goes back to 115, I made $15 a share. Okay, I'm out. And I can always get back into it later. And if it keeps going up, I keep stopgapping it up. I'm taking the risk out of it. But then the new risk is, can I get my money out of JP Morgan because of what we're doing, of the stock? That's the hard part. Can I get my money out? I'm looking for that Apple story. Which I can't find. Let me search it. Hmm. So the Apple CFO stepping down on January 1. Interesting. And here, Buffett, this is 3 weeks ago, sells half of Apple stock. So that's got to drive the price lower, right? There's a big problem with AI. All the AI is turning into bullshit, as I knew it would. AI is nothing. It's artificial intelligence, but it's stupid. Nobody likes it. It really doesn't do anything. So now all the stocks are getting hit that relied on AI, and that's a bad bet. So you're buying stock, Apple, Amazon, whatever. You really need to know why you're buying the stock, and what do you see it going to, and at what point do you sell it? And if you listen to your financial advisor, you'll never sell it. He doesn't want you to sell it. He wants to keep you in the stock market. And he might say, "Well, here's another stock for you to buy," but he'll keep you in the stock market. As the dollar goes to zero, as the stocks go to zero, you'll be in it, and you all have no idea how to win at it. So the guy with $1 million in his 401k and stocks doesn't know when to sell his stock. So Luke's friend with the $4 million doesn't know when to get out. Oh, it'll just keep going up. Oh, really? It never goes down. Okay, good luck with that. And so that's really the problem you that you see is it doesn't work like that. And you need to take profit. The same thing with the Bitcoin people. Oh, I bought Bitcoin. Everybody buys it at $5, I know, and then it's up to 60,000. But when do you sell your Bitcoin? People don't know. Oh, I'm just going to keep holding it. It's going to go up to 1 million. Okay, based on what? Well, I really don't know, but I just, Sailor says it'll keep going up. So I got to listen to him. Why? What does he know? He doesn't know anything about it. It's not a free market item. I don't think it's supply and demand. I think it's manipulated by whoever is running it. So that's what you have. So when you make profit, you need to get out. You need to take the profit. That's the golden rule, which people are not understanding. Your stocks go way up, you sell. Now the gold hasn't gone to where it's going because of now. If there was a stock, and we were to say, well, brics is going to bring it on. Apple. Well, brics is going to use Apple in Russia and China. Oh, okay. Well, then in that case, I'm not going to sell my Apple. There's a reason it'll go up. Or the same thing with gold. Oh, the brics is going to use gold as money. Hell, it's going to go way up. So I'm not ready to sell it, even though I've made profit buying it at 1,700 and it's 2,500. That's not the point. Okay, let's analyze 2,500 is going to go up to 5 and 10,000. Oh, I probably don't want to sell yet. Now we keep re-looking at it as it goes to see what we want to do. Are we going to want it to go up more? Is it going to go up more, or is there a problem? And the difference with gold is it's not like the Apple CEO stepping down and there's going to be problems with Apple running the company. So therefore, Jesus, risk. Well, there is risk. Oh, it'll be seamless. Bullshit, it'll be seamless. Anytime you change the people, it's not seamless. Just like UCLA, they lost Chip Kelly. They brought in Deshaun Foster. It's not going to be seamless. It'll be a change. So that's really what you're looking for. You're looking at the different variables and when do you sell it? So when would I sell my Bitcoin would have been, I never got into it. That's how my variables didn't make sense to buy it. But okay, it went up. Okay. Manipulated Russian mafia, who knows? Now it's at 60 grand. You bought it at 10. What are you holding it for? What are you waiting for? And it's not like it's still going up and there's no brick story to drive it up. So at this point, I'd get out and then I'd go into gold with it. So that's how you would do it. You've got to have a reason to stay in. Why am I still in Apple stock? Why am I in Coca-Cola? Why am I in Ford or GM? There's a reason you're in it, and then you hope you're right, and then you hope the price goes up. But you're going to have a huge stock market crash from all these foreigners. Selling their stocks is going to knock the price down. It's going to crash the market, but you don't know that variable. So you've got to be very aware of what's going on to be able to play these games. And most people are just not aware of how to play anything. They just see somebody else win, or they just think of anything, and that's really the point. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to make money at it. They make money, but they don't know how to make money. So, okay, the stock's gone up, sell it. Oh, I can't sell it. It's going to go up more. Why? So you got to be able to answer that question. Is it a new product? Is it, it's the wonderful economy here and the high inflation that's going to drive my stocks up? Are you insane? Stock market will be crashing. Your stocks will be going down because of the high inflation. People will have less money to buy the product, especially if it's like an Apple iPhone. Who the hell is going to buy that? Amazon, I'll go to the grocery store and buy. I can buy my own milk and juice. I don't need Amazon dropping it off. Things like that. Greg and John, you're making me green. Like, I don't know what that means. Who is the best? Whatever. Soon any bank account is going to be a Hotel California. You can't get anything out anymore. Well, that's exactly right. Because they're going to be losing money from the people. So as these commercial real estates don't pay, all these strip malls close. I mean, when things happen, like I say, it's just like the Titanic. You hit the iceberg, there is going to be something for it, right? You hit the iceberg, the water's going to come in and you're going to sink. And you need to hit the lifeboat. Okay. So when all these commercial real estates go out and they can't pay, there is going to be something's going to sink and you're going to need a lifeboat. And as you're saying, Pat, the banks, if they stop getting the money in from the commercial real estate and the home loans and the car loans, if people stop paying them, how are they going to be able to pay you? And how are they going to have money for you? Right now, they get money from the Federal Reserve. So if I had 50 grand in the bank and I said, I want my 50 grand, they would call the Federal Reserve and order 50 grand. That's where they get it from. So they don't really have your money in the bank. Well, what's the Fed going to do when they don't have money? So it's just going to be a very, hey, Luke, how are you? I didn't know what to do today because of football, but anyway, I did my football earlier, and before the big noon game on Saturday. So all my football guys are watching. And so I was debating when to do economics, but I figured now because, like I said, I go to the pool and I start watching the 3:30 game. So we're going to do that, get my Chinese. The FDIC, well, yeah, any insurance you don't trust. I mean, they'll do everything not to pay you. Well, look, when Madoff fucked all those people, there was SIPC, right, which is supposed to protect the people from getting Ponzi schemed. They didn't do anything. I mean, they barely had any money to pay out anybody. And I didn't like what they did where they made people who made money pay it back so they can pay the guys. No, These people took a risk and they lost. They should never have gotten into Madoff. You never go after the people that made money. That's unfair to them. If I want to bet on TCU yesterday, what are you going to take my money because I won and pay somebody who lost? Are you out of your mind? They took the risk and they lost. That's their problem. You wanted to play Madoff and you played him and he goes bankrupt. Why should I? Well, I'm not taking my profit back and giving him. That's ridiculous. If you give your money to a bank, you are considered an unsecured creditor to the bank. Sorry. Perhaps they will give you their bank stocks as compensation. Luke, read today that the Fed announced on Wednesday banks need to be Basel III by October 1st. U.S. Treasuries will no longer settle international trades. Well, that's because international trades is all brics right now. I'm not sure I get it. Banks need to be Basel III by October. Basel III means they have to pay. So COMEX had to pay the country. So if China wanted 2 tons of gold that the U.S. did it, Basel III says, okay, COMEX, you have to pay them out. So I guess what you're saying, Luke, is that they're going to have to pay back the people who have their money. So if I have 10 grand in the bank and they don't get their money they don't get their money from the commercial real estate, they're still going to pay me. How the hell are they going to do that if they don't get their money in? They don't have money from me. They don't have any money there. It's all bullshit. The banks have to have gold. Where are they going to get the gold from? There's no gold for them to get. It's all gone. Central banks have been buying, unless you're saying what, we're going to a gold standard? Is that what you're saying, Luke? And that all the banks will have gold to cover everything? So when the gold goes to 20,000 an ounce, they'll have the gold? So this is a law, the banks have to have gold? And like I say, there's no gold left. The 255, 260,000 tons of gold's gone. It's all sitting in the BRICS central banks. So I don't know where they're going to get the gold to have it, if you're saying they have to have it. But I don't know how they could force the banks to be Basel III, because they don't. Unless the central bank's going to pay the banks to pay all the customers. I mean, the dollar's already worthless now, so let's keep printing it, and fuck, it'll be worth 1 cent, the money. Gold replaces U.S. Treasuries as the new bank collateral requirements for banks to issue loans starting October 1st. And again, where are we getting the gold from? Or do we already have it? It's not in your Fort Knox, that's for sure. Well, what do you mean it replaces the treasuries? What? So if they can't pay us, we're supposed to get U.S. treasuries? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know where they're getting the gold from. I mean, we should have been on the gold standard a while ago, but that's fine for us. Gold will be, $10,000 an ounce if I can go to Bank of America and give them an ounce of gold and get 10,000 for it. Fine. For banks to issue loans. So let me see. So if I get a mortgage, I need gold as the collateral, so they give me 100,000 for the house as a new bank collateral requirement. So does the banks Are you saying the bank needs me to have gold as my collateral for the house loan? I don't know. I just don't know where the banks are getting the gold from. There is no 8,000 tons. That's ours. It's China's, but we will see. But mm, I mean, so are we going on the gold standard? Is that what you're telling me? The banks have to have gold. Hmm. And you read this where? Well, I'll check YouTube. Seems like too little, too late. Treasuries will no longer settle international trade. So what they owe China and what they owe Europe and Asia, U.S. Treasuries will no longer settle in. So if they owe them money, they're not going to pay them. Yeah, that'll go over real well. Is that how they're getting out of the debt? They're just simply going to say, oh, we don't owe you anymore. I don't know. I see what you're saying. I don't believe it because I don't know where they're going to get the gold from. They don't have any, so where are they going to? They're not smart enough to buy it unless they've been buying it, not telling us. But there's certainly, I do see they've stopped doing their put derivatives recently, although yesterday they kind of did a little. Gold replaces U.S. Treasuries as the new bank collateral requirements for banks to issue loans starting October 1st. I can't open it. It's not a link. The new bank collateral requirements for banks to issue. Well, when you say collateral requirements, I think what you're saying is that if I want to take out a mortgage, I need to have gold as my collateral. Gold replaces treasuries as the new bank collateral requirement. But I don't have to have treasuries to take out a mortgage now. So this is banks issuing a loan to whom? So if I want a house, they issue me a loan. I need gold, is what you're saying. That doesn't make sense. They wouldn't be able to do a loan. All right, this is very confusing. So August 28th, 2024, Federal Reserve Board announced final individual capital requirements for all large banks effective on October 1st. So does that mean the large banks have to have gold to pay off the customers? Very confusing. I can't get to a link. There's no link on my comment section. I'll find it. So who wrote the large banks will be required to have gold? And where are they supposed to get this gold? Because there's no gold for them to get. Especially as much gold as needed. This sounds like a pipe dream. There is no gold out there. So how are they going to get gold to how are they supposed to have gold to do loans? And who are they doing the loans with? If they loan out the money, it's the other people that need the gold, not them, because they're trying to get paid back. So if I give you $10,000 on a loan, what do I need the gold for? You need the gold for collateral, so I know you're going to pay me back. If you don't, I keep your gold. So I don't really get the that you do. J.P. Morgan should have gold. They don't have gold. They have the derivatives, right? Or if they had gold, it's already gone. It's already hypothecated to China. So they don't really have like keeping the gold, right? They keep it from COMEX and then sell it to China. And China's the one it's like Fort Knox. The gold might be there, but it's China's gold. So JP Morgan does not have gold. They have probably sold it all to the now that makes sense that they'd be keeping the price down so they can buy it cheaper, but they don't have any gold. No, they can't steal. You don't fuck with China. They are not fucking with China. That's for sure. That's probably why the Jamie Dimon stepped down, because he knows they don't have any gold, and China doesn't play games. It's like Russia. You don't fuck with them. So I doubt that's probably why he stepped down. No, they took $300,000. They didn't steal their gold. There's a difference getting rubles that are worthless. Putin probably doesn't care about that, but that's different because of the sanctions. But they're not stealing China's gold. It's not going to happen. China will never allow that. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to steal Russia's assets, but the Hungarian PM who's in NATO, he disallowed the vote. He said, no, it's not unanimous. I'm not approving you to steal Russia's gold or Russia's money. So it didn't go through. But what's the difference? It's all printed paper anyway. But like I said, the gold, where are you going to get the gold from? I mean, you can't. There's no gold to have. Now, that's why these countries are trying to get their gold back from the U.S., Africa, and a few other, Germany. They took their gold back because they didn't trust the U.S. So if we are having this gold I'll appear out of nowhere, it's not ours, which probably makes sense. But that's what we got. Yeah, they took the $3 billion. It's not worth anything anyway to take their dollars. Like the U.S. dollar's not worth anything. So I don't know. I really don't get why the bank. Why do they need gold to loan money out? Doesn't make any sense. So in other words, if you're saying, well, they have gold, they do a lot to IBM, and they're in a commercial real estate in the Empire State Building, and they close and default, what's the point of the gold? Because they're the ones who didn't get paid back. It's not like the bank didn't pay anybody back, unless that's for the depositors to cover them to have gold. But I just don't. I am not following. And they're never gonna. There's not that much gold to have, or the price of gold is going to be $20,000 if they need to get gold, and they'll have to buy it from where? From the China. You think they're going to buy gold from China? China's going to sell it to them? I don't think so. And most of these countries don't. Canada has no gold. The UK has no gold. The US has no gold. So you're going to go to what? Czechoslovakia, Poland to get their gold? They're not going to sell it to you. So I don't know. What it says and what reality is I just don't, there's not any gold to buy. That's why the central banks, when somebody was selling gold, like Poland, like somebody sold 12 tons and Poland bought 10 of them because they can't get them anywhere else. And with COMEX, there's no delivery. The U.S. owes gold out. So the U.S. has to buy gold from the Bank of International Settlements to pay off the customers, China, in COMEX. If we had gold, why would we buy it from the Bank of International Settlements? So I don't see this. I got to watch Mark McGuire. He's got a thing on banking today, which I haven't watched yet. So it's banks are about to unleash hell on earth. Well, let me read that one before I make comments on what you're saying. But they're not going to pay. So what that sounds like is they're not going to pay us off. What you're saying, doesn't make any sense. Let me try to hear what's going on. But, it's like saying, well, you need gold. Well, where am I going to get it from? There's no gold to get. So we will see. Interesting. All right. Anyway, so that's kind of what you're figuring. It's the same thing here. You're trying to figure out the variables. You're trying to figure out what's going on. Before you do anything, you must understand all that Luke's saying and Pat's saying and I'm saying. I try to make it so you can follow me. Unfortunately, the way they wrote that article, I can't follow what Luke's telling me. Basel III is just simply COMEX. So COMEX has to pay out their derivatives. I don't know what that's got to do with a bank. They got to pay you out. Well, yeah, they don't need Basel III to do that. It's my money, pay me out. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, we will see. We'll see what's going on. I'll research that and get back to you tomorrow with it. So, yeah, there's no pro games tomorrow. There's only one game, so I can do class at 11. So I'm going to be early tomorrow because I hit the pool by 3 o'clock. So it'll be football at 11, probably till 12:30, and then 12:30-ish. I'll do economics tomorrow. Saturday, it's awfully busy keeping track of all the games, going through it. Everybody wants their free games. And I'm like, Bobby was on, Luke. He's hunting for a free game. He wanted his game. I said, Bobby, I don't give them out anymore. You gotta buy or join the class. So I had a little interest in the class, but nobody yet, but they will. I think they were thinking I would still give out the games, but I'm not. So we will see. But anyway, that's where we're at. People still want me to do the 5-team teasers and get 20%. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. One guy got mad at me. I said, no. And then he asked me again last night. And I said, no. What part of I don't do that anymore? Are we not understanding? No. I used to do it with customers. So if you bought, you had all my picks, then I could give you, let's play this 5-team teaser, give me 20%. And I gotta win at least 100. If you got to bet enough. So my 20% is $100. But now you can't just get it. If you're not a customer, I'm not going to just give you the 5 games. Then you got my picks for nothing. And that's not going to happen. So anyway, we will, let's see. So I'm going to watch Mark McGuire and I'll report that to you tomorrow. Or Alligator, I'll report that to you tomorrow. Apple stock is in trouble. They are losing money because of China. China buys a lot of Apple, and China's broke. So they're not buying the phones and whatever else is Apple. That's going to hurt their stock and everything else. So everybody that deals with China is in trouble because their people aren't working, can't afford to buy their shit, and therefore the stocks are going to start falling. That'll be the catalyst. Apple stocks go down, Amazon soon to follow, and there goes the market. So I would not want to be in the market, even though, we're making money and our buddies at the 401ks. It sounds nice, but you got to know when to get out. And so winning at sports betting is about understanding the variables. What makes me pick team A over team B? Why did I take TCU, not Stanford? I won. Now that's the hard part. Now I got to keep the money. So I've got to be careful with my bets to keep the money that I made picking TCU. That's the other part of the equation. So it's a bankroll, which tells you how much to bet. You find the teams, you bet the teams, then you go into keeping the money and adding it to your bankroll. So it's a whole art. And I'm very good at it. So I think that's about it. BRICS gold back currency October 22nd. I don't know this US stuff. There's not enough gold for them, for all the big banks to have gold, unless you're telling me that they've been keeping the COMEX price down for years so the banks could buy the gold. I'm not buying that. They should have been doing it, but there's too much buying going on in China and Russia and India, Saudi Arabia, that I don't think there's that much gold out there for them to buy. So very curious, because they haven't liked gold, why they would all of a sudden have gold as collateral. So I don't know. Is there a gold standard? I'll check that, but I doubt it. If there is, they'd make the gold price higher and pay off the debt. Then we'll see if there's really gold. If they take and make the gold price higher and pay off the 36 trillion with the gold, then I'll believe there's a gold standard, and I believe that they'll have gold. Until then, you don't keep a debt on the books of $36 trillion and keep paying $1 trillion in interest. You don't. Why would you keep doing that? I mean, that makes no sense. So that's why I don't believe they have gold, and not at this price. So this price, okay, we'll keep it low so the banks can buy gold. Well, you had 50 years to do that. Now you're going to do it now, and here comes BRICS about to make the price a whole lot more. So the bottom line here is there's huge demand for gold any way you want to slice it. If the U.S. banks, they're going to buy gold, then that's even more demand, and that's going to push the price through the roof. Now I want to go buy some more gold. I wonder if my guy's open today, because it's the holiday. He's usually closed. And I'm not going to buy much. I'm just going to buy another quarter ounce, but it's always fun. It always makes my day buying a quarter ounce of gold. So let me call them. I do have their number, and see if they're open. That would be interesting. Hold on. Let's see if my store is open. Then I will go and buy a quarter ounce. 734. It's like Christmas if they're open. This is the store. I'm expecting them to be closed because of the holiday, but maybe I'm not. They're open till 3. I'll have to buy it on Tuesday. And a quarter ounce doesn't change much. Maybe it'll be 705 or 695.
The wireless customer you called is not available at this time. Please try your call again later.
So that tells me he's not open. Somebody would answer the phone. Now I got to try my Chinese place and see if they're open today. Let's try that one. They've been closing on these holiday weekends also. I might not be getting Chinese tonight.
How can I help you?
Oh, I just wanted to make sure you're open before I drove out there. So I will see you a little bit later then.
Okay.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you. They've been closing on that, but the coin store has been closing on the holiday weekend. So that's good. Let's see. So I bought 11 ounces of silver at $33 an ounce. But I have some of these that go back where I'm buying gold at $1,700 an ounce. Very happy. All right. So Chinese, but no gold. At least I don't think so. I might try them again. They're not far away and they're on their way to the pool, but I don't think they're open, but we'll see. Anyway, anything else? So again, you got to understand why you're doing what you're doing. So Luke's given us this information that the banks have to have gold. Well, what's that mean? It means the gold price is going to go through the roof because that means they got to buy the gold. And if they bought the gold, they'll want the gold to go up in price. So they'll admit they have gold, which is very unusual, and then they don't want the gold price down. They'll make the gold price go up. And then I wonder what London will do in Canada. Neither of them have any gold either. So they won't want to be left out in the cold. So we'll see what happens. But the bottom line is the demand for gold is. So we don't want to sell our gold that we bought at $1,700 for $2,500 because we think the gold is going easily to 10,000. So why would I sell it at 25 if it's going to 10? Now at 10, we can revisit, should I sell some now? But I'm not buying gold as stock. I am not buying it to sell anytime soon. This is just buying it because the demand is there. It's very limited, and therefore the price will go up, but it'll go and stay. It's not a stock. There's no profit taking. There's no any of that. So there's no reason, there's no CEO, there's no problems that, they're going to jail. JP Morgan's going to jail. There's none of that in gold. It's not a stock. So there's no negative on it. And if the demand's there and the price keeps going up, there's really no reason to sell it because it's not a stock. People think it's a stock. It needs a dividend. It's not a stock and it doesn't need a dividend. Just like I said, with like Rolex, does Rolex give a dividend and that goes up a ton, or a Picasso or a Van Gogh? They don't give out dividends. People are pretty happy with those. Anyway, so that's what's going on. I'm going to go to the pool and I might drive by the gold store just to see if they have gold, but if they're open, they'll be open till 3. Burkina Faso in Africa is nationalizing 2 gold mines. Well, Burkina Faso is trying to get all of Africa into a gold standard. Now that the Russians are kind of behind them and not the U.S., the U.S. kills everybody who tries gold because they're the reserve currency, but that's not what Russia and China do. So they're that general is gonna try to make Africa gold standard. So all of Africa will be backed by gold. That's what they're trying to do. So it's just go buy as much gold as you can, as much silver, and just hold it and just smile. Just put it in a safe place, and off you go. I've got a lot of my gold in the white silver containers, but I always do this. I don't want the condition to get fucked and I don't get the value. So I always put my gold in, whatever the size is for the gold, and then I try to do that. So I try to do that, and then I Got it in little, which are far easier to hide and far easier to take on a plane. I can just slide in a few ounces and some silver, and nobody knows. So Mexico nationalized silver mines. Well, I don't. Do we want it nationalized or we want it free market? I think we want it free market. But all I care about is them going on a gold standard, and everybody will be much better off with a gold standard. But I don't trust what Luke's saying. That, and not that I don't trust Luke. I don't trust that um, that what Luke's reading is real. I don't buy that. Anything coming out of the U.S. government, Federal Reserve, I don't trust any of it. What are you waiting for to go on a gold standard, or are you going on a gold standard? You're saying the banks need to have gold collateral for what? They don't loan the money out. I mean, they loan the money out. They don't need the gold. The people who are taking the loan needs the gold. So I'm really confused by that. But let me read up on that, and I will tell you tomorrow what I find out. But it doesn't make sense. It's basically the banks must be Basel III compliant by October 1st. Basel III just means that they must pay off their customers. It's got nothing to do with gold. That's what COMEX is. COMEX is Basel III, only COMEX gold, not COMEX silver, which means that if China wants to, if the U.S. does their put options, and China can call them and take delivery, and that the U.S. has to send them the gold. That's what Basel III is. It's got really only because that's what it is. It's not in silver, and so I don't know. I'm not sure what it means. Is the banks have to? Yeah, I mean, the banks are all going to go broke. They're not going to be Basel III. That doesn't make any sense. So let me read it. But I know what you're saying, but it doesn't make any sense. Basel III Tier 1 assets now include gold, cash. Yeah, I know that, but that's what it's been. There's Tier 1 and then there's Basel III. These are two separate things. A Tier 1 asset is treasuries and gold. So if they're making cash a Tier 1, that's impossible. It's worthless. And then Basel III means they can take delivery. You've got to pay them on the options in T plus 1 day. You've got to come up with the gold and pay them out. That's what Basel III is. So they're two different things. And cash can't be a Tier 1. The treasuries are, but they're going broke. Cash can't be because it's inflated. It's worthless. So you can say that, but it's not gonna. There's no way cash is a tier 1 asset. So I don't know. I can see it on the options where you're forcing them to pay off pay off China. You need to pay China when they ask for delivery. You've got to pay them right now. Like that's why silver's fucked, because they don't have to pay the silver out. So you do a derivative with silver and it drops, and then China says, "I want your silver." They don't have to pay them out. That's the problem with Basel III. And that's why it's not in silver; it's only in gold. So all it means is they got to pay them out. But how's a bank? Who are you going to pay out? You don't have a loan with anybody. There's no options. You've lent your money out. The only people that would need the money is us. If we say, "Give me my 20,000 out of the bank," gold's not going to help. I mean, unless you plan on paying me in gold, and where are you going to get it from? It's just the whole thing makes no sense. Something, however, is on the brink. Well, that's what I got to read Mark McGuire. So we'll listen to Mark. Or Alligator. So let's see Alligator's thing on As Good as Gold Australia with Heckle and Jekyll, who are bald, who wear these stupid toupees. We will see. So let me watch that. So I'm gonna go watch a little football, go swim, get my Chinese, and see if the gold store is open. I'd like to get a. I'm just trying to get a quarter ounce. All right. Have a good day, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow morning. I'll do football at 11, and then I'll probably do this about 12, 12:30. Maybe I'll run it through like we did yesterday. I'll do both because football's, well, I'm going to go through all the games today, tomorrow. So we'll see. All right. Have a good day. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Pat. Be well and enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. All right. Take care, everybody. www.teaserking.com.